All right. Hello, everyone, and welcome back to Take Back My Brain. I have a very special guest today. She's sort of in my family. She's my daughter-in-law's sister, and she's absolutely precious. She is a mama of 6. I know that sounds really amazing. I'm amazed by her. She's a mama of 6, and she's passionate about toxins in our home. So I want to welcome Megan Pedersen to the podcast. Thank you so much for allowing me to interview you today. And I am just excited to hear your story. How on earth did you become passionate about toxins in the home?
Thank you so much for having me, Lori. This is going to be fun. So when I was pregnant with my third, this is back in 2015, I started to develop atopic dermatitis. So it's just a fancy word for eczema. Yeah. And I had it all over my right hand, between my fingers, some on my left hand. I couldn't wear my wedding rings. It was on my face and miserably itchy. When you're pregnant, you're already not getting much sleep.
Miserable, right?
Yeah, totally. And so there were nights when I would wake up like just so miserably itchy. I'd have to sit on my hands to keep from scratching them, or I'd wake my husband up like, hold my hands because they itch so much. And it got so bad. It was awful. And we had no idea what it was from. We're like, was it ringworm? Was it some other fungal thing? Because nothing touched it. Doctors were like, I don't know, but here's a steroid cream that you could use. So yeah, I'm like, well, that wasn't a good idea. But we started to do some research, like, well, maybe we'll go ahead and switch over to like those green cleaners that you see at the grocery store.
Right.
So I switched to those, and
because you thought maybe it was a cleaning issue,
it could be.
Okay.
Yeah, because I used bleach, I used disinfectant wipes, I used like those pine scented cleaners and all of that, but I would not wear rubber gloves. It's just how I grew up. It's
right.
A terrible
You're fine. You're fine.
Yeah. So don't ever do that if you do have to use those. But it's like, well, maybe it's something like that, because every time I would clean with the abrasive scrubbers in the tub or the toilet bowl cleaners or whatever, my hands would react.
Okay.
And so like, okay, well, let's switch to something a little bit more green. And so we did, but those products didn't seem to clean my bathroom. I'm like, ew, gross. It's not working. It still smells funky. I wasn't a huge person for essential oils, and I can't stand the smell of vinegar.
Yeah.
So those options were out for us personally. And we're like, well, what are we going to do? We're just going to let's just keep doing it for now. When I was pregnant with my first in 2011, we were told about a company called Norwex. And like the concept with that is you have a microfiber cloth and you clean with just water in the cloth. And I'm like,
what a novel idea. That cannot work.
Right. Like you need the bleach. You just, that's just what you do. That's how we're programmed these days. And so we were like, well, we'll shelve that idea. I'll think about it. And then we, when I was like way towards the end of my pregnancy, we went swimming one day into our neighborhood pool. And, pools are chlorinated. Chlorine is a chemical.
Yes. And
when we got out, I'm like, my hand, I had eczema all over my hand here and between all the fingers. And of course, I'm in between the fingers on my left hand. But like all of this here was foamy white and it was burning.
Ooh.
It was so weird. I'm like, this hurts. Like I need to go wash it off. And so my husband, he's genius. He's like, you know what? There's chlorine in the pool. There's chlorine in the water. And even though you're using those eczema creams that are supposed to help soothe and heal your skin from eczema, they're not working. I wonder if there's something in our water that could be causing you to not be able to heal properly. Because we've made a switch to like cleaner shampoos, and I was using like glycerin soap to wash and all of that.
Yeah.
It didn't seem to really do much for me.
So you weren't getting relief in that aspect. So you had to dive deeper.
Exactly.
Yes.
Exactly. So what we did is we bought a whole house filter, because here in Houston, we have chlorinated water. We're not on a well. And so that we found a filter that filters out 97% of chlorine from from water. And that's been fantastic. Once we did that, I'm like, yeah, I can shower again. It was so nice instead of using our little tap filter that we had. And so after some time, we realized, okay, this is actually working. And by then, my daughter was born. Back up just a little bit, I had done the steroid from my doctor for 3 weeks total. And I did 2 weeks before she was born, took a 1 break week, and then another week after she was born. And we realized that this topical steroid cream, which I couldn't touch anything afterwards, so I'd have to wear gloves and put it on at night.
Yeah.
It would help so I could sleep. But the next day, I would be itching like crazy, and my eczema would look worse.
Okay.
I'll share some pictures sometimes. I don't have them up on my phone, but like I looked half dead, honestly, because I couldn't put it on my face. It was just on my hands. But I still wasn't getting the rest that my body needed because it was an autoimmune flare-up.
Right.
So those things, it just takes its toll on your body, even if you're sleeping.
Mm-hmm.
And so we decided, you know what, I'm going to cut that just cold turkey. And we looked into red skin syndrome, which is essentially your body gets dependent on the steroid. Mm-hmm. And some people, it happens in the first 3 weeks, like it did for me. And other people, they could be on a steroid for years before their body gets so dependent on it. Kind of like some people with drugs or alcohol. Sometimes it takes time or it's instant.
Right.
And so my body developed red skin syndrome, and I had a process of detoxing from that, which took about a year.
Wow, that's a long time, Megan.
It was, yeah, but it was worth it. It was hard because there were moments when it's like, oh no, it's so itchy again. Are we doing the right thing? Mm-hmm. And then like, okay, I got this day. We're good. Yeah. So it was crazy. And so back to the filter, so going through the detox from red skin syndrome and using the filter for our whole house water, and then deciding I'm going to look more into Norwex. So I took about 4-5 months to research the company, research the products, because, it's a direct sales company. And so sometimes they're a little bit iffy. You never really know what
you don't know what you're getting. Yeah.
Yeah. But I had learned so much researching. I attended a couple of parties from friends, and I hosted my own and just did my own research. And I learned the core values of this company are integrity, trust, and respect. You can see it on my t-shirt.
Perfect.
Yeah. And so I'm like, I can get behind that. I can totally support a company and use the products and know that they're not trying to take advantage of me. And that was really when I'm like, okay, let's do this. Let's have a party. And so I had my own party in home, had one guest. And then I'm like, you know what? I'm just going to sign up. I'll get the discount as a consultant, and I can share with people this cool way of cleaning. I mean, you see a wash off butter and it doesn't leave streaks like paper towels and window cleaner do. So it was pretty awesome. And that's how I got to becoming a consultant in 2016. So a year after my daughter was born. And by then my hands were healed, and it's been amazing to see that transformation. And it's been a long process, but it was definitely worth going through, and I wouldn't change it.
That's awesome. That's awesome. So you had an autoimmune flare, which I don't think most people realize that toxic chemicals can create an autoimmune response in our bodies. So maybe let's just talk about these chemicals that do trigger that autoimmune response. So can you speak a little bit to what those might be and what we need to look for in the products that a lot of people are currently using?
Yeah, absolutely. For the harmful chemicals, everybody reacts differently to different things. Like my husband, he can use paint thinner and he never has a reaction.
Sure.
If I touch paint thinner, I'm doomed.
Right.
So
right.
Everyone reacts a little bit differently. But one thing that people don't realize is that there are over 80,000 chemicals in use today, but only 9 are regulated.
Say that again.
There are over 80,000 chemicals in use today, currently.
80,000. Okay.
Yeah, over 80,000. I think like the number was like 84,000 and change.
Uh-huh.
And only 9 of those chemicals are regulated by the EPA.
Okay, so let's stop again. I'm going to stop again because this is shocking to me, because this I didn't know. So there's over 80,000 chemicals, 84,000-ish chemicals. Only 9 of them are regulated by the EPA. So that's the Environmental Protection Agency that's supposed to keep everything clean, correct?
Exactly.
Okay.
Yes. And the last time a chemical safety law was assessed was back in 1976.
Okay. So
So
I was
over 40
3.
years ago.
Yeah. I was 3 years old when that was assessed. So that's a long time ago.
Yes.
Yeah.
It's crazy. And here we are, 2021, and there's been no reform. And it's crazy considering how technology has increased. Like, well, shouldn't we increase our understanding and knowledge of these chemicals as well?
Yeah, because those have definitely increased since 1973. Our cancer rates have skyrocketed. I see in my practice every single day autoimmune disease, which means your body is basically attacking itself. It can't heal. It can't process the chemicals because everybody's detox systems are so clogged up. And chemicals are a huge reason for that.
Yes, exactly. Our bodies were designed and created by God to be able to filter out those toxins. But when there's too much what's called body burden, we can't filter it out. And that's what happened with me. My body burden reached its limit, and it's like, that's it. We're just attacking everything inside of you. And yeah, that's what
I tell my people all the time, like your toxicity bucket. So it fills, and all of a sudden it just gushes over. So your body burden, your toxic bucket has overflowed. Yep.
Yes. Here's another interesting fact to go with the number of chemicals and all of that. Since 1976, there have been 11 chemicals used in the US as unsafe, listed in the US as unsafe, compared to the EU, which has over 1,000.
Wow.
Are listed as unsafe to use. And 1,000 of those are EDCs, which is endocrine disrupting chemicals. And endocrine
has everything to do with hormones. Yes.
Yes, exactly. So it's pretty crazy. And when you think about it, like if everybody just stops for a second and thinks, what's under your kitchen sink? What's under your bathroom sink? What's in your makeup? What's in your lotion? What's in your toothpaste even? Everything you touch, think through it and think, like, what do I have? If you think about something under your sink, everyone in the US who's not switched to safer cleaning alternatives has roughly 62 toxic chemicals in their home. That's just the broad brush of that. And yeah, it's crazy. And when you get to like the all nitty gritty details of what's in the ingredients in makeups and lotions and things like that, it's
astronomical, the chemicals that can be in your home.
Yeah, it is crazy. So there was a study done, conducted by the University of Bergen in Norway, and this was published in 3 medical journals in the US also. This study came out probably a year or 2 ago.
Okay.
And it was a study on how spray chemicals, so all those spray cleaners people like to use, window cleaners, whatnot, how those chemical products have an effect on our lungs. There was a study between men and women, and the study showed women in particular had a much higher increase of being affected. And so with those spray chemicals, there are fumes in the air and stuff like that. And those, they're called VOCs, which are called volatile organic compounds. Mm-hmm. And those can linger in the air for a couple of hours. And so, yes, you cleaned your bathroom, but you go back a couple hours later to go use your bathroom and put on your makeup, whatever, and you're breathing in those VOCs.
Yeah, and it still stinks.
Yeah, it still stinks for sure. And so you're not technically touching it, but you're still breathing it in. It's going to affect your lungs. And if you are doing that for 20 years, the study found that the effect that has on your lungs has the same effect as smoking a pack of cigarettes a day for 20 years.
Wow.
So think in, you're not smoking, you're clean, you're good. But you're cleaning your house. Or if you're someone who does this as a living, mm-hmm. you're even more exposed. And it's crazy how that can affect you. You don't think it will, but it surely can.
Well, and I think, that can be a topic of conversation for people to say, well, I've never smoked, but yet I have lung cancer, right?
Exactly.
So, and that seems to be more and more all the time because less and less people are smoking, but where our lung cancer rates are rising.
Yes. And the use of chemical products has increased, especially with last year with COVID, and everyone's like, oh, I got to clean everything. and they keep their windows shut, and then they're spraying all these fumes, and
it's been like
insane.
toxic invasion with this whole viral issue going on right now.
Absolutely. And VOCs are usually more like the level is higher indoors than outdoors because people leave their windows shut, or they have asthma, so they don't want the pollen in their house. But they're cleaning with those chemicals, and then they still have asthma flare-ups, or they have they end up with lung cancer. And so it's those the VOC level is a lot higher indoors than it is outdoors.
Right. I have a quick story to tell you when
Yeah,
we're
go
talking
ahead.
about all this lung stuff, because before COVID was a thing, I had this lung stuff going on. And anyway, I ended up seeing an alternative practitioner for my lung stuff. And she's like, you've got some like really toxic lungs. Like, you got some parasites in there, this and that. And so we were doing some protocol things. And as I was going through the protocol, all of a sudden, like everything smelled like cigarette smoke. Everything tasted like cigarette smoke. So my lungs were cleansing with this protocol. And so I grew up in a smoking household. So I still had I'm going through this protocol at 46 and 47, still in my lungs, smoke, like all of the chemicals from cigarette. But then crazy is because we're talking about household chemicals, there have been moments and times where I taste bleach, where I taste like a pine cleaner as I'm doing this protocol. So I've repeated it several different times over like the last year and a half. And every time I do it, I get weird, like chemically taste in my mouth and in my nose where everything tastes and smells like that.
That is wild. That is crazy.
So that's in my lungs. And thankfully I'm getting it out. But I just wanted to say that to make a point to what you've been talking about, that we're breathing in these chemicals. It's not like when our body is toxic and it's burdened, they can't process out of our body because our detox pathways are clogged. And so I've had, all this stuff stuck in me because my toxic burden was so high. And now I'm able to get it out because I've been working so hard at detoxing my body over the last like 5 years. It doesn't just come out the next day. I'm like, your body will hold on to that if it can't let go.
Exactly. Yeah. And it's some people, they don't think about like, oh, if I just use this a little bit each day or a couple times a week or even once a week, they don't realize that the little things add up. There's a video, we can share the link in the show notes. It's called Little Things Matter. And it shows how these harmful bacteria, or not bacteria, harmful chemicals like lead and the bleach or the smoke and other chemicals that are used, how little bits can affect you, and they build up to what is called body burden, like we mentioned earlier. And it's crazy to see how that affects not just your health, either your lung health or your skin health, but also your cognitive health and that of your children. And it's crazy how that, just how it does build up, and it's everywhere. You can't escape from it, can't escape from the chemical, but you certainly can reduce what you use in your own home to give your own health a boost, and then you're better prepared to deal with whatever you come in contact with outside of your home.
Exactly. That's such a great point, Megan. Yep.
Yeah. And there was also, I want to mention, there's something called forever chemicals, and these are per and polyfluoroalkyls. And these PFAS substances are a group of man-made chemicals that are used to provide stain resistance, grease resistance, water resistance, etc. And these chemicals have been used for a long, long time. And there was a study done of breastfeeding mothers, and 100% of breast milk samples from 50 US women had shown that there were PFASs in their breast milk being transferred to the infant.
Right.
It's crazy. And these chemicals were from those products, so nonstick cookware and things like that. But they're also from way back in the 50s, their grandmother's generation, when those things started coming out. And so these chemicals, they're completely passing through the breast milk into their infant. And these chemicals lasted from years and years and years ago, and they can still last for generations afterward. Now, it's not to scare anybody. Right, they don't break down. But you can give your body the room you need by detoxing and reducing your chemical burden to be able to deal with those properly and Lord willing, flush them out. But still, it's like that was from the 50s,
Right.
and it's affecting some children here in the 2000s. So it's pretty crazy. And over 200 chemicals are found in the cord blood of newborns.
Yeah.
Me pregnant with number 6, it's pretty striking. Like, seriously, I'm trying to, we all try to eat well when we're pregnant. We don't go out and drink. We don't do all these things that we may have used to do before getting pregnant, but there's still those chemicals. And again, not to scare anybody, but it is a fact. It's just part of living in this society. And that's where you start creating your own safe haven in your own home, so you can reduce the exposure to your newborns and your infants and to your children.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah, because of those 287 chemicals they find in the newborn cord blood, over half of them are cancer causing. So
exactly,
we really need to do what we can to minimize that toxic burden in our home, and we're passing that on to the next generation. So literally you can pass at least 4 generations of toxicity through genetics. So
yeah.
What you're talking about, Megan, is so important so that we can clean up our homes just for the next generation, if not for this current one.
Exactly. Everything starts at your home. That's where you have control.
Nope, exactly. You can't control your neighbor, but you can control what you're spraying on your window and in your bathtub and all those kind of things.
Exactly. No kidding. And it's crazy. Like the harmful chemicals out there, a lot of people have thyroid dysfunction, or they have reduced immunity, whether it's autoimmune, or they just seem to get head colds all the time, or they can't get pregnant, or they can't maintain a pregnancy. These chemicals have an effect, especially EDCs, the endocrine disrupting chemicals. And if you were to stop using the bleach and disinfectant wipes and such like that, your body would be able to detox, and you would have less negative impact on your thyroid, on your hormones, on your skin, cognitive ability too. You'll have less foggy brain.
Right. And that's always good.
Yes. Exactly.
Yeah.
Absolutely. And our skin is our largest organ. It can absorb things like within under 30 seconds of whatever we touch or what we put on our skin. Lotions are meant to absorb into our hands. And so whatever chemicals are in those lotions or on our makeup, we're like, okay, we're gonna put it on, and it's in our bloodstream within 30 seconds. It's insane.
Right. So when you're looking at your products you're using and it says do not ingest,
right?
You're still ingesting it because it does soak into your skin.
Absolutely. And it's more direct than like just through your digestive system. It's right into your bloodstream.
Right.
So like, I'm not eating it, but
so if you can't eat it, don't put it on your skin. Don't use it. Yeah.
Exactly.
Very good. Very good. So let's talk about safer alternatives. So we talked about kind of a doomsday kind of look picture. So let's talk about our other options out there.
There are quite a few options out there. The one that I personally have a heart behind and use in my home exclusively are the products from Norwex. Mm-hmm. Norwex is a Norwegian company, and their name stands for the Norwegian experience. And Norway is synonymous with clean living, healthy lifestyles. You just look at the pictures of Norway, it's gorgeous.
It is gorgeous. Yes, I'd love to go there.
Yes. And so Norwex was created by Bjorn Nikolaisen in Norway. And he and a friend of his, they decided to go, we'll go ahead and we'll sell these products. And in the microfiber cloths that they sell are much like this, their quality is far superior than what you'll find at the dollar store or other big box stores.
For sure.
Yeah, totally. To qualify as microfiber, the fibers of the cloth, I don't have a secondary one to show you, but here is an unbearable cloth. This is the size cloth and the type of cloth that Norwex started out with. And to qualify as microfiber, it needs to be at least 1/6 the thickness of a human hair. So take one piece of hair, look at it sideways, split it 6 ways lengthwise, and that has to be, that's as thin as it has to be for microfiber. Norwex takes it a step up, like a billion steps up. So theirs is 1/200th the thickness of a human hair.
Wow.
So Their density is insane, and it allows the cloths to get a much better clean on your surfaces. And it's really cool to see how it compares to other cloths and things like that.
Oh yeah, definitely. When I look at, because I've got some of the cheap microfiber, right?
Uh-huh.
But, you know, like for random things that I don't want to use my Norwex cloths for. And, you know, there is no comparison. There is, yeah, hands down, definitely a higher quality. And why is that important?
It's very important because when you have a much more dense cloth, you can pick up a lot more off of your surface. So Norwex, they have, they say that you will be able to pick up to 99% of bacteria from a surface just using the cloth and water when it's cared for and used properly. So, which is super simple. We have a fun demo night on the 16th that we'll link that down in the show notes and such and talk about a little bit later. But it's fantastic to see how that, how it really does work. And also comparing it to disinfectant wipes and paper towels and such like that. There's a fun demo where you put a germ simulation it glows underneath a black light, and wipe it with a disinfectant wipe, and you'll see, yes, the chemicals are on the surface, you're good, but you're also smearing around the bacteria, and you have all of that chemical residue, which is still on the surface. It's like you're spraying your weeds with weed killer, and your weeds are dead. They're in your garden right there, still just dead. It's like dead germ bodies on the counter.
Sure.
With the Norwex, yeah, it's kind of weird, but with the Norwex microfiber cloths and water, just get it wet, wipe it, and it will remove up to 99% of the bacteria. There's no more left on the surface without chemicals. Water is known as a universal solvent. And so, like, you know, you have baked on stuff, fill it up, let it soak for a few hours, and you're usually good to go. You can scrape it off a lot more easily. And so it's a much safer alternative. Everyone has water. They have access to water. It's not that expensive. You're already paying your water bill because you shower.
Right.
Yes. And so
you're saying what God created actually works.
Exactly.
Okay.
And it's pretty amazing to see how it works. And I can't wait to show you all. But so we have density. Our cloths are super dense. They use water, so it's a non-chemical solution to your cleaning. And with our unbearable cloth, we say it's E for everything. Kids, counters, floors, pets, cars. You can do like literally everything. I've cleaned almost everything with this. And a couple other things that make our cloths stand out are many of our cloths, and we have many still going through this process, are Oikotech certified, which is the standard 100 by Oikotech. And it's a certification that ensures that our products are free from legally forbidden chemicals, as well as chemicals that are not yet assessed to be prohibited. So they're safe, they are clean, certified free from prohibited dyes and other additives that are not allowed by local and global authorities. And we have, we do third-party testing on all of our products.
Which is huge.
Yes, absolutely. So, you know, it's not a biased opinion. It's pretty great to see how it passes all of that third-party testing and multiple tests through that.
That is great. Yeah.
And one other thing that makes it stand out is the microsilver, which we call backlock in our fibers. So the microfiber, here's a little bit of a close-up if you guys are going to watch a video. The microfiber is it's like a star-shaped fiber. So think spokes on a wheel. So when you're picking up anything from your surface, wiping it down, the star-shaped fibers are going to pick things up like a shovel would. So you think you're digging up dirt, you're going to pick it up with a shovel. If you compare that to cotton fibers, like cotton rags, paper towels, disinfectant wipes, those are cylindrical. So think shoveling dirt with a beach ball. You're just going to push it all around.
That's a great analogy. Okay. I love it.
Yeah.
Okay.
So it's like, who wants to shovel with a beach ball? It just doesn't work. You need the right job.
Yeah, and let's be honest. Okay. When I grew up, Dad's old underwear, we cut the band off. Like those were our rags, right? So not that there's anything wrong with that. I'm just saying I do like the Norwex cloths a little bit better than Dad's underwear, and they clean a lot better. So now I know why, because I was using a beach ball as opposed to a shovel. I love it.
Exactly. Yeah. Yes. And the microsilver is in those tiny fibers. Remember, they're 1/200th the thickness of a human hair. And the silver ions, they go to work to prohibit microbial growth within the cloth. So it does that in 3 ways. One is it breaks down the cell's life support system, so that the silver ions from the microsilver are transported into the bacterial cell, blocking its respiratory system. So the bacteria suffocates. Second, it starves the bacteria. So the activation of intracellular enzymes that digest the food, as silver ions are binding to the bacterial cell wall. So it starves the bacteria. So it suffocates it, starves it. And third is essentially birth control. It deactivates the bacterial cell's DNA.
Okay.
So it's no longer able to reproduce. So we've got it in 3 different ways. And these silver, yeah. So your cloths are self-purifying. So wash it.
So you're saying, like, if I'm wiping up like a meat spill, like a raw meat spill on the counter, so I can use my Norwex cloth. Like if I was going to use a paper towel, I just throw it away because that's disgusting, right? But if I'm using my Norwex cloth, I can safely wipe that up with the cloth and know that it's not going to stay in the cloth. Like I wash it, it's totally fine, and I don't have to throw that cloth away.
Exactly.
Okay, I like that.
The silver is going to take care of all the bacteria, and we do recommend laundering the cloths like once a week. You do need to launder things because we're in a fallen world, things just get dirty.
Yes.
And so being able to, so we just launder roughly once a week, and then when you're done using it, rinse it out real well. We have handy tags on the corner to hang them up to dry, and the silver goes to work.
Great. What I've noticed with them is, towels and sponges and those kind of things, they get a funky smell to them. I've never had my Norwex cloths get a funky smell.
Right. It's pretty awesome how the silver works, and I've found that with mine as well. And that was a big thing. It's like, ooh, less laundry, yay!
Yeah, I know. Yeah, especially when you have 6 kids, you need to cut down wherever you can.
Exactly.
And they're dirty. Kids are dirty and messy and sticky and just
Absolutely. Yeah, it makes it so much easier. And I can send my kids, hey, you had an accident on the floor, take the bathroom scrub mitt or the enviro cloth and go wash it. And so I don't have to worry about let them wash it because it has this disinfectant wipe or this bleach and fumigate the house. It's so much safer for children to be able to help clean. They can wash the windows, they can wash the bathrooms. I had a son, he decided hey mama, can I help you cleaning the bathroom? I'm like, I would love that. Here, go do this step and then come back to ask me for the next step. And he did a good job. And sometimes it's hard to be let me do it, it's faster, but it's nice having that option. Here, I need you to clean this while I go clean the other one, and we're gonna knock this out.
Right, and you don't have to worry about any of the toxic chemicals, and they're totally safe while you're doing it. So it just gives you that mama peace of mind, which I love. Yes,
absolutely.
And if you have pets in your home, you're not spraying chemicals on the floor, on the furniture, and where they're laying too. So those of you who don't have kids, this is going to be safe for not only you but also your pets.
Exactly, and they're not licking it up off the floor.
I know they lick random things. It's just
so gross. My kids were weird like that too. They would when they were a year old roughly, they would lay on our tile floor, just lick the floor back and forth. I'm like, you guys are so strange. And this was before Norwex, so I feel awful for them.
Yeah, because you never know what your kid's gonna lick. It's just it is what it is. So yeah. Awesome. So any other products you want us to talk about? Because we're going to do a demo on August 16th. So we'll put that in the show notes where you can all come and just see all these amazing products that Megan has for us. And but is there anything else that you want the listeners to know? Maybe not just even about Norwex, but just about, toxic chemicals in general in the house and just how to kind of avoid them.
Yes. So on the side of Norwex, we have more than just microfiber. We have safer alternatives for your laundry detergent, an alternative to dryer sheets, which are one of the most toxic things in your home.
Oh, I hate dryer sheets.
Yes, it's crazy. And so we have alternatives for those. We have alternatives for toilet bowl cleaner. We have a cloth that pairs with our window cloth. It's like Bert and Ernie. You wash with your enviro cloth and wipe your windows, anything chrome and shiny.
Yes.
Window cloth. And it you're not having lint left behind either. And
no, it really does work. So for those of you who haven't used the window cloth, that was the first cloth that I got from Norwex, and I've had it for years. I think I have like 3 or 4 of them now, but I love it. I clean my windows more often because I don't have to deal with the streaks, all those kind of things. And it's fun. And I can give it to my daughter and she wipes and there's no streaks there. And I love the window cloth.
Yes,
it's my favorite.
Yeah. We have some personal care products as well, which I personally use with my skin allergies. And I've not had any issues. And I'm always very wary about what I'm putting on my skin because I had such a horrible time with
right. You don't want them to come back. Yes.
Yeah, it's miserable. And so we have what's called a body cloth. You can think of it like the Enviro cloth for your body, but it's soft and fluffy like a terry cloth towel.
Oh, fun.
So it will also, just like all of our microfiber, remove 99% of bacteria from the surface. So it's going to remove dirt and grime, help your body refresh to be able to reorient its microbiome properly. And we have shampoos, toothpaste, mouthwash, things that you might not think about, but is actually like we need to change these products so they don't have fluorides, which is a neurotoxin. And I just read about that in a book. I was a pregnancy book about how it crosses the placenta and affects baby so much. And it also can absorb into your oral membranes and affect your brain. It's like, lovely.
Lovely. Thank you very much. Right.
Right. Yeah. None of our products have SLS or SLES, which some natural products do. So if you aren't quite ready to jump on to you're not ready to dive headfirst into Norwex. I wasn't either. So don't be scared. Yeah. But read the back of the labels and find the products. There are 2 resources you can reference. One is an app called Think Dirty. And so you can look up products, not all products, but some. You can look at products and see what their chemical safety rating is. Awesome. And it's up to 8 being the most toxic. And of course, 3 and under is like, it's safe enough. You can use that. But some natural products, like there was a natural dish soap I used. It was dermatologist recommended and everything. It had SLS. And my hands swelled up and were itchy for 24 hours. Like I could not take my ring off. It was scary. So you got to look that up. Think Dirty is the app. And then you can go to the Environmental Working Group's website. So it's ewg.org. And there's also skindeep.org, which is their beauty.
Now I'll post that in the show notes too. So
yes, that'd be awesome.
Yeah.
So you can check out those resources that will help you make safer decisions for which products you can use. Think about it, talk about it with your husband or your wife. Think, where can we change first? What's our biggest area that we need to change to create a safer, healthier home? For us, it was cleaning products. And then we've moved gradually to more personal care products. Some of my family members were like, I had to be the first one because of all my skin stuff, but my husband followed along suit. And of course our children were in between us. And so figure out where and who needs to make these changes first, especially if budget is an issue. Or you can even talk to me. We can host a demo night like Lori's going to have, and we can help you educate your friends and family so they understand the importance as well. And through Norwex, we have a very generous host program where you can earn these products for free or discounted. And that helps a lot with being able to get these products in your home. And Norwex is like extremely generous. So this helps you get these products in your home so you can have a safer, healthier home for your family. Excuse me.
Yeah, I love that. Yeah, that's so great. So if people are wanting to check out the Norwex products, of course, they can come to the demo night. But if they're not making it to the demo night, where can they find you, Megan, so they can learn more about wonderful products and just less toxic home in general?
Yes, you can check out my website. We'll put it in the show notes because my last name is spelled differently than most. So go to Megan, Megan, Pedersen, Pedersen .norwex.biz. That's my personal website. You'll be able to look at the products. You can learn more about the products. You can contact me through there if you have questions or like, hey, I think I want to dip my toe into being a hostess, or I want to jump and share all of this with everyone just like you do. We can talk all of that over. You can also request some samples from me. I would love to let people try before they buy because sometimes you don't really know. You want to take someone's word for it, but you're hesitant. And so I have a Google form we'll put in the show notes where you can request a sample of our Enviro cloth, window cloth, and laundry detergent. And this allows you to be able to try the products. And yes, you can clean with little sample size cloths.
Yep.
And you'll be able to see how fast and easy it is. And you're going to love it. You'll fall in love with them.
Awesome. Is there any social media platform they should follow you on?
I am on Facebook. So if you go to facebook.com, you can go to the groups, and it's Megan Pedersen's Safer Haven Cleaning.vip.
And I will tell you, I've learned some really cool stuff on there. So things I didn't know.
Yes.
Yep,
It's a lot of fun.
Yes.
So I have Facebook, the VIP group there. Lots of fun things happen. I am on Instagram. It's mostly just a personal profile, but I'll link that in the show notes. I can't remember my profile name. So
that's okay. We'll put it in the show notes. Yep. Awesome. Okay.
Yeah, and that's it for now.
Awesome. So I have loved this conversation. This has been amazing. It's so important to, like Megan said, just to pick one thing and start there. If you're like, I don't know where to start, it may be a toilet bowl cleaner, it may be a cloth, it may be your toothpaste. So just pick something and make a change, because that is how you're going to clean up your home and allow your body to be able to detox and just a better environment for your family. So Megan, I want to thank you so much for being on the podcast. I've enjoyed this conversation, and we'll have to have you on again in the future and talk more about chemical safety and home products.
Absolutely. It's been so much fun. Thank you for this opportunity. Let's do it again.
Okay.